NFL draft, and everybody's really looking forward to it. Lots of things happening. But one of the things that happened yesterday was that I did a video and I did a quickie, a 7 round Seahawks mock draft based on my discussion analysis of what I thought, the Seahawks priorities ought to be. And unfortunately, because of the fact that I use StreamYard, which requires you to do two steps to actually show something on the screen. We ended up without any. We ended up me doing the video, doing the mock draft without actually showing you the mock draft. So we're going to try to fix that today. I'm going to do another quick one and then get in and get out on a Sunday and just kind of go back and look and see how the Seahawks roster might look if the team focused on my priorities instead of the general Seahawks bloggish nonsense priorities that are out there for most of the people that are doing Seahawks stuff that people are listening to, guys like Brian Numskuller and Seahawks retard Nelson and guys like that, and Dan Viens or Venz or whatever his name is. These guys all seem to think that after drafting 19 straight position players, after trading Russell Wilson away and not drafting a quarterback, that we're somehow going to get better by drafting a bunch more position players. I personally don't think that that's true, but let's take a look and see how this draft might fall. And we'll do it quick. We'll get in and out of here in 15, 20, 30 minutes. And then we'll just see what the Seahawks roster will look like after we get done doing the draft with me as the owner general manager rather than Jody Allen and John Schneider. Wow. Something about my internet connection is suckage today, and that song broke up. But we're back. If you recall, yesterday we did a thing where we did some absolutely did some really cool stuff with the Seattle Seahawks depth chart when we went and did our draft. We actually picked up a bunch of guys that I thought were okay. Connection lost. Don't know what's going on. But let's slide over and take a quick look at what that depth chart ended up looking like. We ended up drafting Spencer Rattler in the first round at 23. We took Peyton Wilson in the second round to solve our linebacker problem. We took Fatui from the Washington Huskies. We took all kinds of interesting players that filled out our roster. Tavondre Sweat ended up falling to us in the fourth round, high in the fourth round at pick 101. So this is how we filled the roster out. And it looks like we got things going pretty well. Today, our priorities remain quarterback, linebacker, safety, tight end, guard, center, and defensive tackle are lower down the list. And edge isn't really even on the list, but let's go ahead and put edge in there, just for the sake of making some interesting conversation in case a really good edge should fall to us. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to do. In case a really good edge should fall to us. And then we'll come back and we'll redo this depth chart and see what the Seahawks roster looks like going into the season. All right, we are going to slide over and actually take a look at the NFL PFN Pro Football Network mock draft simulator and hope that we can get something interesting. Okay, there it is. And we're all set. Okay, so we're going to use PFN today because we've been using Sportskeeda, and they're basically the same, except what's different is the ranking. So we're going to go 7 rounds. We're going to go fast, and the only team we're going to draft for is going to be the Seattle Seahawks. So we are going to go enter solo draft and let it go, and kaboom. All right. Before we look at our trade offers, let's see what happened here at the top of the draft. Caleb Williams went to the Bears. Drake May went to the Washington Redskins. Jaden Daniels went to the Patriots. Marvin Harrison Jr. went to the Arizona Cardinals. And I think this is what's going to happen. People are talking about four being a destination for people that want to trade up, but the Cardinals already have lots of picks. Look at it. They have got like five picks in the top 104, six, 7 picks in the top 104. They don't need any more picks. So I think they're going to stick and pick. I think they're going to take the most elite player on the board, and that would be Marvin Harrison Jr. Joe Alt goes to the Chargers. I don't agree with that. I think they're going to take a receiver. Malik Neighbors, JJ McCarthy, Dallas Turner, Olafishanu goes to the Bears. Again, I think the Bears trade out of either the first or the ninth pick to get some extra picks because they've only got a few in this draft. I think they've only got four picks. Yeah. So, granted, they're all in the meaty part of the draft between picks 1 and 122, but they probably would try to add some more. Talise Fuaga, who I think is the best tackle in this draft, goes to the Tennessee Titans at number 11, where they traded with the Vikings to let them come up and take J.J. McCarthy. Terry and Arnold, Amarius Mims, Jared Verse, Brock Bowers. Now, the Seahawks are on the clock. Look, let's be honest. If I'm there at 16, we all know Michael Penix is my QB1 in this draft. I think he's the best quarterback in the draft. I don't think there's any question whatsoever about his ability to throw the football and make plays downfield. So, once again, I just don't see any way that he makes it to the Seahawks at this point at 16, but just on the off chance that he does, no, we're still going to ignore it. We're not going to go with that. So let's take a look at our trade offers here at 16. We have a couple. We have one from our arch enemies, the Rams. They're offering us 19 and 52 for 16 and 81. They would get our third round pick back. I'm not giving them that. The Cowboys are offering 24 and 56. These are the only two offers we have. I don't want to trade with the Rams. I don't want to help them. I do want to help the Cowboys more than the Rams. So I'm going to accept that offer and pick up a second round pick and move back to 56 on the assumption that Michael Penix Jr. is not available at 16. If he is, I'm sticking and picking and I'm taking him. So boom, boom, boom. We go through. Let's see what happened after we picked. The Cowboys came up and got Troy Fatanu, the offensive tackle, offensive guard from Washington, maybe the best offensive lineman in this draft. Good for them. They needed it desperately. Quinion Mitchell, the corner, went to the Jags. Don't disagree with that. J.C. Latham, the tackle from Alabama, goes to the Bengals. Liatu Latu goes to the Rams. Good edge player, injury history. And here's the thing, too, is my brother Dave Barra, the other Seahawk boy Dave Barra pointed out yesterday, nobody has any problem with Liatu Latu being a first round pick. Nobody has a problem with him going in this range between 15 and 25. Absolutely. Everybody seems to think that's fine. And he's even ahead of guys like Chop Robinson, who are considered elite prospects. His injury history is far worse than Michael Penix. Yet somehow the fact that Michael Penix had a couple of knee injuries 4 and 5 years ago, he's 2 years removed from any kind of serious injury at all, is being held against him. It's being used as an excuse why he shouldn't be taken in the first round. Yet nobody has a problem with the injury history of Liatu Latu, and his injuries were far more serious and far more life threatening. Yet it doesn't seem to really stop anybody from ranking him up there. So after that, Byron Murphy, the defensive tackle, went to the Steelers. That's the Steelers kind of pick, but I think they're going to go offensive tackle there. Brian Thomas, the wide receiver, goes to the Chargers. So the Chargers, I guess, get an elite offensive tackle and an elite wide receiver, and not an elite wide receiver, but a really good one. Chop Robinson. Nate Wiggins goes to the Giants, who flip-flopped with the Vikings, it looks like, or whoever had the third pick over 23rd pick. Looks like the Giants sent 47 and 70 to the Titans to take number 23. This leaves us on the board at number 24. And I'm going to do the same thing I did yesterday. I look at the offense. I think it's realistic. It's not realistic that Michael Penix Jr. is still there. It is realistic that Bo Nix and Spencer Rattler are still there. Now, yesterday, I took Spencer Rattler. I think Rattler has more star quality than Bo Nix. I think he's the bigger prospect. He has a little bit of character baggage, but he's worked very hard for the last 2 years to overcome that. And I think he's shown that he has NFL character. As a football player, he's exceptional. He's got great feet. His footwork is incredible. His throwing arm is great. He's a little short. I think he's 6'1", 6 feet tall, 211 pounds. That's considered short. Um, so what we're going to do is we're going to flip it up this time. Instead of taking Spencer Rattler, who is really my favorite, and then after that, none of the rest of these quarterbacks has star quality. But Bo Nix, Michael Penix, Bo Nix, and Spencer Rattler all have star quality. This time we're going to mix it up, and we're going to take Bo Nix. Now, personally, I don't think I think there's a chance Nix and Rattler are still here at these picks. At least one of the two of them will be there. So this time we're going to assume it's Bo Nix. I think Rattler goes 33. I think he goes the top pick in the second round. So let's go with Bo Nix, and we fill our number one need, our quarterback spot. And bam, 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 bam. Now we slide down to 56. Okay, let's take a look and see what happened after we picked Bo Nix. Cooper DeJean went to the Packers. This is a popular pick lately, but this guy's very stiff. He's not very smooth and fluid. Looks like the Panthers came up and took Jackson Powers Johnson. The Texans came up and got Johnny Newton at 28. That's a good pick. Graham Barton goes to the Lions. Adonai Mitchell goes to the 49ers. There, it looks like they're going to have to trade Brandon Ayuk. Xavier Worthy, the wide receiver, goes to the Chiefs. They need a corner. They need a wide receiver. They got one of the two. Adisa Isaac goes to Tampa. There's a trade there. They trade up to the 33rd pick, or trade down to the 33rd pick. Tyler Newman, Christian Haynes. There's some interesting picks. So far, the Cardinals have gotten Marvin Harrison, Kool-Aid McKinstry, and Christian Haynes. Pretty good draft for them so far. The Dolphins trade up and take Kingsley Sumiatia. Max Melton is their second pick. Okay. Ruka Rohoro goes, Jordan Morgan, Zach Frazier. Jalen Polk goes very high. Michael Penix Jr., 44 to the Raiders. That's a fucking joke. Michael Penix is a first-round pick. He is a high first-round pick. Frankly, if I had the number one overall pick, I'd take him over Caleb Williams because he's outperformed Caleb Williams in high-pressure situations where Caleb Williams has tended to wilt. And I think Michael Penix Jr. has leadership and the character that Caleb Williams lacks. But there's no way he gets to 44, but at least he's off the board. Cooper Beebe, that's a popular pick for a lot of Seahawks fans as a guard, goes in there. Chris Jenkins goes to the Bengals at 49. Who'd they get? They got an offensive tackle and a defensive tackle. Those are their two biggest needs. Good for them. My brother Dave likes Chris Jenkins a lot. Patrick Paul Melton, Mike Melton. Okay, so Max Melton. So if we go back to our depth chart, we have actually filled our. Why do I have to do this? I have to like click on the way Restream works. Sometimes is really really irritating. Go back to the application window. If we look at our depth chart, we filled in our quarterback situation. In this case, it is different. It is not Rattler. It is going to be Bo Nix. And oops. So now we filled our number one need. So quarterback is off the board as a need. We will change the fill color to blank or no fill. Now we are looking at linebacker, safety, tight end as our top needs. Guard, center, tackle, edge, whatever is still there. So let's take a look and see who is actually. Let's clear all these things out of the other positions we drafted because we don't really know what's going to happen. What's going to happen with that? So let's go back over to our draft board and see who's available and who we might be taking in this particular draft. Let's go back to all, and we look at it now. We got Darius Robinson, the edge, probably a good player, but we don't need another second round edge. We've got a ton of those. Michael Hall, Braylon Trice, Ben Sinnott, Peyton Wilson. Oh, man. Okay, so this is tempting. I realize our defense sucked, but if you look at our picks, we have 56, we have 81, we have 102, we have 118, we have 179. We have 192 from the trades. This is really hard for me because there are some players that I really like. Michael Hall Jr. is a good player. Braylon Trice, I really like. Peyton Wilson, I love. He's the best linebacker in this class, but we took him yesterday, so we're not going to take him today. We're going to instead take Braden Fisk is a guy I like. Instead, we're going to take a guy. We're going to take a guy that is not one of our top priorities. We have Noah Fant at tight end, but Ben Sinnott. Ben Sinnott is regarded as the next Sam Laporta. He's a guy that a lot of people think is an under the radar tight end, but he may be an outstanding player. Now, the Seahawks don't use the tight end. That's true. They've only got Noah Fant and Pharaoh Brown there. So we're going to just take a jump here. We're not going to go with our needs because linebacker's not a desperate need. We have starters there. We have quality NFL starters at linebacker. I'd love to take Peyton Wilson. We did it yesterday. Let's take Ben Sinnott as the tight end. Okay, now we're on pick 81, and again, we're going to reject most of these trade scenarios because they're kind of unrealistic. But so far in this draft, we've gone offense. Offense, I think that dictates that we go defense here. The problem with this is that all of the top players are actually on offense. Now, there is a guy here that we took yesterday that Ricky Pearsall, by the way, is a really good receiver, and I don't think he's going to make it into the third round. I think he's a second round pick. There are some guys we really like here, and if we go to defense, there's a safety, Javon Bullard. I'm not taking a safety before the fourth or fifth round. I'm going to take Rob Staten's advice on that. And as I look at the defensive side of the board, I'm going to take a risk. Third round pick, Tavondre Sweat got into the car accident, drinking heavily, might be a problem. Worth the risk at 81 because he's a huge difference maker. I mean, look at the size of this guy, 366 pounds, absolutely massive interior defender whose size renders him almost immovable. Given how poor the Seahawks were against the run last year, that appeals to me. I'm going to jump up. I'm going to take a risk. I'm going to take Tavondre Sweat a little ahead of where he should go based on character. But now I'm starting to fill in the defensive side of the ball. Okay, now we've jumped to pick 102. We've got an offer from the Broncos. We're going to reject that. We are going to stick and pick. We go back to our all. And according to this, we could have gotten Spencer Rattler here at 102. Nonsense. Spencer Rattler will be long gone before that because of the priority placed on quarterbacks. I think he'll be gone early in the second round, certainly top 40. So we still haven't done anything for the offensive line. We haven't done anything for linebacker, and we haven't done anything for safety. Our next pick is 118. I think we can address safety there or possibly linebacker there. I'm going to look for an offensive lineman, and I'm going to not necessarily look at the centers where we've got just a number of names that are kind of like, the guards, Brendan Coleman, are there. Offensive tackle. Yesterday, I took Matt. Well, I call him Gon Calves, but apparently it's Gonzalez. Matt Gonzalez, who the Seahawks did have in for a visit. 6'6", 327. That's guard size. He could be converted to a guard. He could also be an offensive tackle. I also love at the guard situation. I love Zach Zinter, and I don't understand why Zach Zinter is so far down this list. He was probably on track to be a first round pick before he got into this, before he broke his leg. But a broken leg is not a serious accident, so it's really going to come down to me for Zach Zinter or Gonzalez. The guy who's closer rated to where I want to pick is Gonzalez. I don't think there's a lot of offensive line talent left. I'm going to take him because I think he can play inside or outside, and we need flexibility. So we're going to take Matt Gonzalez again for the second time in the draft. Now we slide down to 118. Again, we're rejecting these unlikely trade scenarios. I mean, you get offered trades every single pick, and that's not really the way it works in the NFL draft. The current picks we have, we've got 118, and we don't pick again until 179, very late in the draft. 118. Who do I like here? Well, again, if you look at our needs, linebacker hasn't been addressed. Defensive tackle has been. Cornerback is not a need. Safety was a need, but Malik Mustafa, who I would have taken here, is gone. He's an athletic, big hitting safety, and Rob Staten really likes him. So we're going to do something a little, I guess you would call it asymmetric. We're not going to double down on any positions yet. We're not going to take a wide receiver. We're not going to take a running back. We're not taking any running backs in this draft. We're gonna sign two or three running backs in the aftermarket, the undrafted free agent market. Try to challenge some of the guys on the back end of our roster, but we have no need for a running back. So what we're going to do is we're going to slide over. We're going to go to linebacker. We are going to reach a little bit, and we're going to go for Tommy Eichenberg, the linebacker from Ohio State. Why? Because I love the guy. I love his instincts. He didn't test that well. Testing is not that important. Eichenberg is dramatically underrated in this draft. I'm going to fill my future linebacker need by taking a really smart, highly intelligent inside linebacker in Tommy Eichenberg. Good fit for us in the 34. Now we slide all the way down to 179 is our next pick. Again, finally, no offers. There are a bunch of guys here. Zion Tuipulotu, who we took yesterday. He's more athletic than, as a for instance, he's got more athletic upside than the guy from Washington State, who's also a popular pick for the Seahawks. And did he go already? What's his name? Edge is a good thing as we're looking at edges, linebackers, safeties. We only have a couple of picks left. We haven't taken a safety yet. Are we just going to randomly take a safety just to take a safety? No, we're not going to do that. We're going to go ahead and take Zion Tupuola-Fatui, the edge, just to challenge Daryl Taylor for a job. Now we're at pick number 192. We look at all the defensive players that are available. Trey Taylor, there's a lot of good players here, and I'm thinking we are going to go with, let's just take the top safety off the board. Patrick Morris, safety from California. We need to fill a safety in, so let's do that. And now we'll pick at 235. And that'll be our last pick in this draft. Um, all these names have gone off the board. So now we're in a situation where we've taken Bo Nix, Ben Sinnott, Tamondre Sweat, Matt Gonzalez, Tommy Eichenberg, Zion Tupuola-Fatui, Patrick Morris, whoever he is. And now we're going to we have a chance to double down on a position. The question is, do you want to double down on, let's say, a center who we haven't taken yet, or do you want to double down on tight end? Here's what I'm thinking. I really want Jack Westover from Washington. 6'2", 243, ran an incredible 40 time, but I do think I can get him. Devin Culp is very high and draftable. Wow, in a lot of in the other drafts, but he's only rated 377 here. That's crazy. We now have 3 tight ends on the roster. We have 2 centers on the roster. I I'm gonna go I think one of those two. I think one of these 2 Washington tight ends, Westover or Culp, we're gonna get in free agency. So I'm gonna go with the center, the guy I like. You all know who I like. Is he gone? Is he gone? Oh, they must have changed their rankings. Wow, I was gonna go with Drake Nugent out of Michigan because I like Michigan centers. But he's gone. He is long, long gone. So that slides us back over to doubling down. Let's check the quarterback situation here. Is Tua gone? Yeah, Tua 2 has been taken. I like Tua 2 a lot. We don't have a wide receiver in this draft. Nobody here excites me. We're going to go with another tight end with wide receiver speed. We're going to slide down and take Jack Westover. Even though Devin Culp is generally considered the better prospect by most people, we're just going to take Jack Westover and fill it out. So probably a practice squad player. That is it. That is our draft. So we get Bo Nix, the quarterback out of Oregon this time. We get Ben Sinnott. It's possible he makes it to 56. So I was willing to take that pick, but I do think he's a high second round pick. I think he goes top 40, but there's possibility he could slide. Tavondre Sweat, the defensive tackle from Texas. We take a character risk on him, but it's only pick number 81. Matt Gonzalez is going to be our offensive tackle guard. Tommy Eichenberg is our linebacker. Zion Topola Fatui is our edge. Patrick Morris is our safety, and Jack Westover is a third tight end. So now, as to we slide over to the depth chart and take a good look at that. This is going to get kind of more interesting than it was. We drafted a little different than we drafted yesterday. Am I frozen again? Okay. We're going to go to application window and we're going to show this. Wow, I'm having major delays in my software here. Okay. See if we can get this to work. There we go. So now we're gonna fill in our names. We're gonna go field color. We're gonna go with Gonclaves. There is gonna come in. We're gonna do the tight end thing. We actually have Sinnott and Westover. So we are set at tight end. We didn't do anything at the tackle spot, so we will take that out. We did not get a third center. We're going to have to sign one in free agency, so we're going to take that out. In terms of our linebackers, we got Tommy Eichenberg, who I really like. I'm really happy with that pick. Um, Safety, we went and got who's the safety? Patrick McMorris. Okay. Patrick McMorris is who we picked up for safety. That's just a body that we stuck in there. We once again got Tavondre Sweat, who is a big nose tackle addition. And that means that, if he plays great in preseason, we can let Jaron Reed go and save the cap space, or we could just let him come in the next season. And for our other edge, we got Fatui again. And let's check one other thing here. Go back, check our results once again. That's it. We got all of our guys on the roster. So now, as I look at this roster, we filled the quarterback need, we filled the linebacker need. We'll go with no fill. We picked up a safety. Did we fill the need? I don't know. We picked up a tight end. So all of our top priorities, we were able to get top quality players for, and we filled up. We filled up our defensive tackle position. We got a nose tackle, and we actually picked up an edge, which is kind of a luxury pick for us. But now he's going to challenge for two. He's going to challenge Daryl Taylor. So I like at this roster, and again, is this roster better than it was? Better than it was when we came in to this draft? The answer is absolutely yes, because now we have a quarterback for the future that we could build around. We have talent around him. Pharaoh Brown may not even make the team. Or what will happen is these three guys, Fant and Sinnott, will make the team for sure, and then Pharaoh Brown and Westover will be challenging. I think they cut Pharaoh Brown unless they really, really want him for his blocking. And we have a much deeper offensive line now than we had before with Gonclaves, who can actually play tackle or guard. We probably need to pick up a third center to come in and compete for the backup center job. And overall, I think this is a team with a future. Whereas if we don't take the quarterback at the top of the draft, this is not a team with a future. This is a team that is going to be actually pretty miserable. So, this to me is much better than what we have today. If we do not have if we don't get a quarterback at the top of this, then all the rest of this becomes meaningless because we have nobody who can really pull the trigger and take advantage of the talent that we've built. So the new additions are Nix, Fatui, Eichenberg at linebacker, Sweat at defensive tackle, Gonclaves on the offensive line, Gonzalez, Sinnott, and Westover at tight end. We probably could have gone with an outside guy, a wide receiver instead of a second tight end, but Westover's got wide receiver speed. So this is a roster that I think can start to become competitive depending on how this guy Bo Nix develops. And certainly next year, you're looking at Howell and Nix fighting it out for the starting job. And Gino is almost certainly gone. Gone to save the $25 million under the cap. Okay, that's it. That's what I think. That's what I like. Yeah, can't pass to Andre Sweat. I just think Bonix wouldn't be targeted in the first, maybe in the second or third. Camille, that's where he's probably rated, but he's going to go in the late first, early second, because the seven top quarterbacks, Williams, Daniels, McCarthy, um, Latham, not Latham, but Penix, Nix, Rattler. These guys all have first round talent. There may be issues or reasons why they're not considered first rounders, but they all have first round talent. Who did I forget in terms of the quarterbacks? Anyway, they all have first round talents, and if players were taken where they were actually should be valued, quarterbacks, yeah, they'd be spread out for the first 3 rounds. But these guys all have there's a qualitative difference between the top 6 or 7 quarterbacks in this draft and everybody else. And the other guy, when you get into that next group of quarterbacks, you're definitely talking third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh round picks. These guys have first round talent. So I think Rattler and Nix are going to go. I wouldn't be surprised if all these guys go in the first round, because I think, again, the thing you're forgetting is how many 4 quarterbacks went basically in round 1 last year. I mean, Will Levis lasted until the first pick in the second round when the Titans traded up and took him. That's essentially calling him a first round pick. The same thing is going to happen this year because this is actually a better group of quarterbacks than last year. So teams are going to put a premium on quarterbacks. They're going to go up and get them. The Seahawks better be one of them if they expect to have a future. All right, guys, thanks for being here. That's all I got for you today. Don't forget, once again, to like and subscribe and comment, and I will try to be as nice to you as I can be in the comments. Even if you say something really dumb, I'm still going to be okay with that. Thanks for being here. I absolutely do appreciate each and every one of you, and this has been fun for me to do this, and I think I'll continue to do it. I just hope the Seahawks don't screw the pooch and once again, for the 3rd straight year, completely ignore the quarterback position when there are talented guys that they could take that could give them a future at the position that they do not have right now. That's it. That's what I got. See you.